get the perfect picture to post up there. That was my job. And so what she did is she closed down her social media accounts and she started a website where she could utilize her talents and her gifts in an authentic way. Likewise, I came across an article with about Lady Gaga. She's a musician, an artist. And it reads such: I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that the music industry has always seemed a bit off. The way that some artists' music is so fabricated in the look, so seemingly over the top. You can't help but feel that that's not who they truly are. The camera and the online world share a similar quality. Both can smell inauthenticity from a mile away. The feeling is further confirmed when Lady Gaga is speaking out about how her life in the music industry was feeling so shallow that she almost quit altogether. She speaks about how she got in touch with the root cause of her unhappiness. Lady Gaga is presumably someone who has it all: fame, money, friends, fortune, legacy, and more. Yet she's still unhappy. Why is that? In her talk at Yale University's Emotion Revolution Summit, which was organized by Born This Way Foundation, that's her foundation, and the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, she expressed how promoting fragrances she didn't like, going to parties and shaking hands with people she really didn't care about, and making money for others while being overworked was so damaging to her passion and her creativity that she was losing her sense of self. There is so much pressure put on music artists to do the things that they have, to do things that have nothing to do with their talent and art, but just because it comes with a job. It's supposed to be okay. Well, Gaga thinks not. Recognizing this, she started doing something so simple to get back in alignment with who she truly wanted. She started saying no by turning down photo opportunities, not going to events, refusing to be connected to causes that she truly didn't care about, and more. Lady Gaga has slowly made her way back to who she really is. And she says this: slowly but surely I started to remember who I am. And then you go home and you look in the mirror and you think, yes, I can go to bed with you every night. You could say this when you are in alignment with your soul. You could say this when you're in alignment with your spirit. The article goes on to say that this is not an easy thing to do in general, but it becomes even more daunting when one is being inauthentic in your life. Saying one thing but doing another, it can create so much inner conflict that it manifests in a number of different ways. So how does this happen? How does this happen? What are the ways we fall into becoming ego-driven and not soul-driven? One, we turn to outside. The first way is we turn outside of ourselves to that which is within, just like the addictions we spoke about. Two, we get caught up in the grips of ego, fear, doubt, worry. This keeps us small. Doesn't allow us to express. And then three, old ideations, dogmas, and beliefs, getting stuck in the way we usually do things. Examples: when someone commits a crime, they go to jail, right? That's just the way it is. Well, I mean, they've proven that they have rehabilitation programs now, that when they finish these rehabilitation programs, it's not only cheaper to put them through the rehabilitation, but when they get out, they become productive and live crimeless lives, most of them. So, homelessness. Someone got creative with homelessness. There was one city that decided, you know what? We're going to house the homeless. We're going to test this out. And what they found was it was actually cheaper to house the homeless than to let them live out on the streets. More cities have followed suit, and this is what creative, innovative ways of thinking and being have. We have in Denver, they saved $17,858 per person. There's LA, Skid Row. It costs 5 times as much to keep them on the streets than to house them. This is innovative, creative thinking. And there's one area we haven't got to yet, and that's feeding people. You know, food, the last time I checked, was a human need. and not hold on. Air, food, water. And we have politicians that want to cut food stamps for one reason or another. And you know, I think there's other ways. Creative, innovative thinking. Look at what we waste every year. 40% of the food in the U.S. goes to waste. 40%. Approximately 1.3 billion tons gets lost or wasted. That could feed 430 million people a year just in the United States alone. So some creative thinking, we may not even need food stamps or funding for it if we can be creative and innovative in getting that food from where it is now, the landfill, into the stomachs of the hungry, into the body temples, feeding people. That's creative, that's doing something different. So, to recap, and along with that, we don't need GMOs for sustaining feeding. We have plenty of food. We don't need GMOs that are killing bees or turning people's immune systems against themselves. We need to be innovative and change. And on the recap, ways that we become ego-driven and not soul-driven is that we turn outside of ourselves for that which is in. We get caught up in the grips of the ego, fear, doubt, and worry. And we stay stuck in those old ideations and beliefs. So, how do we subdue the ego and realign with our soul? The triple A's. Awake, aware, and action. Awake, aware, and action. First, we awaken to the soul's longings. We awaken to that thirst. I love that song. I love it. Quench, that's your soul. Wanting to reveal God, wanting to reveal love, peace. Awaken to the soul's longings. So, we talked about your soul. What are your gifts? What are your passions? What are your talents? What gets you angry? What pushes your buttons? What makes you want to step up on your soapbox? What makes you cry? What gets you excited? What energizes you? What brings you joy? Answers to these questions will help you find your passion. The second thing we do is we become aware. We become aware of incongruencies that we're living in our life. So some examples are, we may say, I really, really, really don't like child labor, so I'm a child advocate. And you even donate. You donate your money to organizations that help with that. And you spend time, you serve in those organizations, but yet you hop in your car and without even thinking or connecting anything, you go down to the local store that's very cheap, that perhaps is participating in receiving items that are made by child labor. Or let's say you're animal activists and you're about animal, you don't like animal cruelty and you're even active with that. So maybe you don't even think about it, but you hop in your car, you go to the grocery store to buy breakfast, and you buy the cheapest steaks on the shelf. The chickens that sit in the basket. Everything is connected. So instead of the $5.40 eggs, you're buying the $1.40 eggs. Well, $5.40 eggs are the free range, the ones that get to see light. Everything is connected. So congruencies, those are just examples of how we need to be aware of our incongruencies between our soul and what our actions are in our life. And the third one is action, which is the call to action. You act in ways in all areas of your life which only your soul would approve. This requires courage. This requires courage. The young lady, the young Australian lady, I think it took a lot of courage to wake up and say, this isn't right, I'm going to cut off my source of income today. That takes courage. So, number one, when we take action, the first thing we do is we inventory all aspects of our life, and our goal is to be soul congruent, soul living. The second thing is the call to creativity. Where there's a problem, we drop the old ideas and we become creative and innovative. 3, we find a passion. We find our passion and we act on it. And we might think, you know,